up, everybody? I'm Dominique.
And I am Brandy, and we are your host of Hey Fave, a weekly podcast where two best friends get together and talk about everything and nothing at the same time. Mm-hmm. What's going on?
You know, all is well. How you be?
I'm good. You know, before we get started,
okay, what you got?
Just shout out. To my Eagles, my North Carolina Central University Eagles. You know, we won that Aggie Eagle Classic, so just wanted to shout y'all out. Okay, Eagle Pride. Yes, I feel much better. Go ahead.
I'm glad. I'm glad you feel better. You deserve to be excited. You know,
I was surprised. I was surprised.
Is that not a common thing for y'all?
No,
shade.
It's not.
That is a general.
It's not. It's not. And you know, I have a lot of Aggie friends. Okay, but when I saw that score, I was like, oh, okay, that's different. But you know, I'm proud of y'all. Congratulations. Much love to everybody, though.
Congrats,
you know,
to y'all. Mm-hmm. So today, we're not being rude and just talking while I guess it's sitting here.
Welcome.
Everybody, they should. Well, let's word it this way. Everybody is somewhere on some kind of finance journey. Mm-hmm. You know, most people are trying to get it together, or, they're always looking to improve. Mm-hmm. So, you may recognize the face. We've had them on before. Mm-hmm. Depending on the order this is posted. I just thought about that. Anyway, that doesn't matter. Does not matter. Not only does he does fitness and motivation, he is also the finance guru.
Yeah.
So welcome back to the show.
Welcome back.
Money Beast Bear. I got it. Yeah. It left me for a second.
Glad to be back. It's okay. So many names.
Money Beast Bear. We talked about King Bear, the brand. This is just another branch. Mm-hmm. Money Beast Bear, Darius Godwin is back with us. Thank you for joining us.
Yes. Thank you guys for having me again whenever this is posted. Thanks for having me on your podcast.
Yes. Listen, we enjoy you. We enjoyed the last one, so we had to have you back.
Thanks for having me back.
Absolutely.
So let's just why not just get into it?
Let's go.
You can just tell us, I guess, like a condensed version of like your finance story, or like how you got to where you are.
Yeah, for sure. So for those of you guys that are first time meeting
guess.
or watching, my name is Darius Godwin. King Bear is my brand. The Money Beast Bear, Money Beast Coaching community is my financial literacy stewardship and smart money management community that I have. And that foundation is basically through smart, strategic financial stewardship for paying down debt and building wealth. So my passion with that is for empowering other people through their financial journey, and again, eliminating debt and putting themselves in a powerful position to be able to grow wealth going forward.
We like that.
So this all started from my fitness journey. I really started, focused in my fitness journey about 2012. Graduated, college. Was working in the corporate world, and blessed to have a job in my field and such. But life, look, it won't add up. And I'm really not a crazy spender, crazy credit card type person. But even then, it just wasn't adding up, right? And so I had a realization that just came to, not just necessarily just came to me, but I had to come to a point to where I was like, hey, I have to be the one to make a change. Let's get started. So I sat down and I created my first real true budget in Excel. Very simple. I still have the same budget till this day that has evolved over time. Okay. But it was started by me taking ownership of my financial journey and my finances, taking inventory, and then it developed into a map that allowed me to continue to progress and be successful over time. But it started with me making that decision to take an inventory of my money. A lot of people don't like budget. It's a buzzword that scares people away. So it's really another word for your financial plan. But my financial journey in a nutshell is I started then. I had student loans like many of you may have. I didn't really have as many. Like I only had one credit card at a time. But that was my emergency fund, which is also not the strategic way. But when you're starting, you do what you can, what you have. And I was paying I was paying $660 a month in loans, student loans. Okay, so $660 of my take-home pay. I think I was making like $42,000 at that time. net was coming out of my, and so
A whole
life.
check.
Listen, what? Come on now. Listen, life was, and that wasn't like struggling,
Yeah.
but for where I wanted to be in life, I wasn't accepting that, right?
Yeah.
And so once I started, I sat down, created my budget, which then led me to have a plan to pay off debt. 2020, I achieved and accomplished my debt freedom journey. So I'm blessed to be able to do that. And I'm on a mission to help people not take as long and, grow wealth faster through strategic decision making in their financial journey. So that's where I am now, blessed. I mean, I'm at a point where even more than that 660 now is disposable. I can invest. I have invested.
Nice.
So
Yeah.
that's really been the full circle blessing for me is at one point I was having 660 come out of my check every month, right? Going to those loans to having more than enough and even more to get into wealth building, which starts with, investing, growing businesses and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Well, let me send you my car note then.
Here you go. Here you go. I knew that was coming. I gotta watch what I say on here. You watching them things. They be telling people how much money. I'm
Right.
like, don't tell them people how much you made out of that.
You're like, hey.
Just say you blessed,
Right.
right?
Listen.
Because then they gonna say you blessed to be a blessing.
You're right. Yeah.
Which.
Technically, but also.
Yes.
Yeah. I got you. Okay, so I guess what has been your biggest lesson or lessons learned like on your fitness journey? From starting where you were to like, achieving that freedom and like now you like using your stuff to make more money.
Yeah, for sure. So the first one is taking inventory and being mature and having ownership over your finances, okay? No matter where you are right now in your journey, take ownership first, okay? Because it's your money, all right? And then when you do that, set the plan. So take inventory so you know what's coming in. Know your income, know your expenses, know how much you have monthly, know what you owe, know what you have, right? And as you do that, it can put you in a more powerful position to make decisions about your daily life on how you utilize your finances, right? And again, we live in the result of the decisions that we make on a daily basis and everything we do. And that really applies to your money, right? Nobody else spent that. Nobody else went on Amazon. Nobody else went on And in some cases, we inherit. I did not, but I've worked with clients, mentees that have inherited bad decision making from their parents as well, right? So I'm not saying take ownership over that, but take ownership over where you are right now. So take ownership, take inventory, and then set a strategic plan and stay disciplined. So take ownership, take inventory, and then set the plan and stay disciplined. And if you do that, you will be successful in that.
That's dope.
Okay.
I like.
What is a common misconception when it comes to budgeting or like a myth or whatever?
The biggest misconception is that budgets are for broke people.
Oh.
Okay. That's one of the biggest, all right, is that budgets are for broke people. And the reason I say that, Amazon, Apple, Nike, all these amazing, great companies, they have a budget.
I bet.
Why do they have a budget? Because taking care of and taking inventory over their finances is what allows them to be successful. Is what allows them to benchmark. It allows them to know if they're being successful or not. Yeah. What habits they have with their spending. What habits they have with their sales. Right?
True.
And you are a business. Your household is a business, believe it or not. You have a tax ID. Okay? Even if you don't have an LLC tax ID, but you have a social security number. Yeah, that's a tax ID. Right? And basically, budgets are not for broke people. Budgets and financial plans are for good stewards and people that are smart money managers.
Yeah, makes sense.
So that's the biggest conception. And then frugality does not mean that you are cheap. Frugality is smart stewardship. Frugality is the ability to do a lot with little, which allows you to have a lot more. Cheap is I want to do this the cheapest route, which sometimes they do cross the cheapest route that I can, which sometimes you pay for more later. So that's the big difference between frugality and being cheap. Frugality is you know how to efficiently and strategically manage with as little as possible. Cheap is you're looking just for the quickest, cheapest, lowest way out, which may benefit you at the time, but it could cost you later down the line.
True. That is true. That's good. Look.
Okay, so you like to help and share your knowledge. You know, you have the community And like you even said, you mentioned like mentees and stuff. So like, what motivates you to share your financial knowledge with other people?
Well, one of my goals and kind of promises to myself when I started that was obviously for generational wealth building, right?
Mm-hmm.
And generational wealth building doesn't just mean within my lineage, right? I want other people to build wealth. And then let's straight up from the Black community, African American community, we're not necessarily always put in the power position when it comes to finances.
Correct.
Absolutely.
So I assist clients of all ethnicities and backgrounds, but my priority focus is our people. Right. And our youth as well, because we're not taught how to manage our own money in school. We're taught how to manage other people's money.
Yeah, fortunately.
So I seek to empower others through being able to, strategically manage their money, which puts them in a powerful position to not only about generation, because I want you to enjoy the money while you're here.
Oh, yes.
Right.
Yeah.
People talk generational wealth. It's like, that's great. But I also want to enjoy it while I'm here too. Right? Like, I don't want to build up this big nest egg and I don't enjoy it at all. And then now my kids do. Like, I want it to be, we can do and not but.
Yes.
Okay. But it starts, I said but, and it starts with the strategic plan and knowing what to do. So I just seek to empower and help other people that they might not have that type of resource or influence or accountability in their home or in their environment or where they come from. So empowering them, man, it's just, I love seeing people go, through the same processes that I did quicker. It's all about, how can you get to wealth building quicker?
Absolutely.
That's dope. I like that.
Okay.
I like it.
So obviously, budgeting is like a really big part of that. Why is it so important?
So your budget is the foundation. Okay. So we talked about fitness, just like fitness, your nutrition is the foundation. All right. So your budget, and you can interchange that with financial plan, whatever makes you feel the most comfortable. Okay. Because people do hear budget as buzzwords and buzzword and they want, because they hear budget and they think save, no spend. And people, honestly, people don't want to do that. Or they think I got a budget because I don't have enough. No, you need to budget so that you can have more than enough.
Yeah.
And then when you have more than enough, you need to budget even more so that you're not wasting the more than enough that you're earning and incurring, right?
Okay.
So, but the budget is a foundation because you have to have a plan, just like anything else. You don't build a house without plans.
True.
Right?
Because
if you start building a house, you might be two by four short.
That's a word.
And those two by four short could have a big difference. Then maybe they're part of the foundation of the house, right?
Absolutely.
You have a storm. Now you've wasted all that time,
gone.
all that money, right? So the same thing with your budget is, yeah, you might make money, but you're not paying attention to how you spend it.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing with the budget and accountability is it keeps you accountable. It gives you direction on where you are, and it's a map.
Yeah.
It helps you understand where you are and where you can get to where you want to go. That's the foundation, though. Like, if you don't have a budget, man, like some form of budget. It doesn't have to be some elaborate Excel sheet. Some people like to write their stuff down, but something to keep you mindful of your income, your expenses, your money, where your money is, where it's going. Like, that's like number one responsibility.
Yeah. That's good. I like that.
Yes.
I need a budget.
Easy. And don't overcomplicate budget. Budget literally starts with write down for the month how much income, what's your revenue from your jobs, part-time, whatever. Okay, how much do you bring in? Liabilities. You know what your expenses are. Rent, mortgage, car note, food, groceries for the month. Subtract your expenses from your income. That equals your net, right? And typically, I know people talk about the zero-based budget, meaning where you try to assign the dollar, and I'm probably going to deep, but where you assign a dollar to every category, even if it's savings, even if it's, you just assign it, because when you assign a name to your money, when you assign a purpose to your money, there's no extra money. No, it's, even if it's, hey, additional savings, additional spending, right? When you assign it that way and you create a zero base, you assign your dollars a purpose. All your dollars have a purpose, right? But by just doing that basic budget, which is how I started, that basic budget alone, it will open your eyes in more ways than one, okay? It'll either let you know where you're overspending, or you might say, man, I didn't think I had 200, 300. Or people always talk, I want to invest. I don't got enough money to invest. Let's break down your budget. I always tell most of my clients and stuff, I said, I will find at least $200 in your budget per month. That's at least $200 in your budget per month, disposable, meaning that you really do have, whether it's based on your habits, subscriptions, or just impulse mismanagement.
Yeah.
And typically it starts with just mismanagement. Like, yo, when you lay it out, it's like, I was spending that much on that. I thought I was only maybe spending $25 on food a week. Nah, bro, you spending $200 on food a week outside of getting groceries.
Yes.
So
Jesus.
your budget is that's why it's the foundational piece, because it really just sets the tone for everything you do. And it starts with awareness. Can't change anything if you don't have awareness.
Yeah. Okay. All
Yes.
right. So I have a question.
Yeah, ask.
What are some tips for someone just getting started on budgeting?
Just getting started on budgeting. So the first thing is, when you create your budget, then create some accountability on when you're going to check and update and revise your budget. Okay? Again, y'all know me, even with the fitness, I am an extremist. I check my budget every day. And I know that may seem daunting to somebody that's listening to that, but that was what I needed to do to be successful. And I'm also very meticulous, and I get motivated from that.
Yeah.
Because I also like finding like, oh nah, y'all try to Spectrum, y'all try to charge me a little bit more this month. And it's like, well, if you got it nowhere, that's you, okay? Because that could be money I could be investing into my business. That could be money I could be, because now my mindset is not, oh, that's money y'all taking that I got to pay somebody. It's now that's money that I could be using to make more money.
Yeah.
So see, the principles still apply, okay?
Yeah.
So I would say, set a time where you can be accountable to revise it, right? Maybe it's not every day. Maybe it's twice a month. Maybe it's at the end of the month. The only thing is, the longer you go, sometimes the tougher it is to track everything back, right? So, so start with just 30 days of budgeting, okay? See what your spending is. From there, make those small adjustments. Don't try to adjust everything at one time. And then when you set goals, don't try to necessarily set, or I encourage you to set more realistic, shorter term goals as you build up your money muscle to set bigger goals. So it's easy to say, I want to save $1,000. But if do your budget and you're negative $415, our first goal is, I need to get negative $315.
Go sit down.
I need to get zero, right? Yeah, go sit down. But I say, create some accountability, set small strategic goals that build momentum to build your money muscles, right? And then from there, like I said, create accountability and just keep going. So start small and grow.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like that how you like clarify like the importance of realistic goals, because I think like that's how sometimes we get stuck, like, or the goal is sometimes
I know what you mean.
it'd be too broad.
Yeah.
And it'd be like, I just want to save, but it's like, how much or how do I save?
Yeah.
Or like you said, like, okay, let's say I want to save $500 by this point. But like you said, if you are in the negative, or, if you don't have that extra to get you to, so then the goal needs to be something else. Like maybe let's get out of the negatives, or how can I create like additional income or space in my budget too.
Correct.
And then, so I guess that is also a question for someone that finds themselves in the negative. How do they either start working towards being out of the negative, or creating more, creating additional income, or creating space?
And that comes from somebody who at that time, I was low-key in the negative if it wasn't for that credit card, right? And then a lot of times I was just ended up paying that interest on the credit card to stay afloat, right? Yeah. And that was with smart money management people, meaning like I was doing at that time what I thought was the best I could with my money. I wasn't really sporadic. Like I didn't always but I wasn't making terrible financial decisions going to blow the bag at the club and this and that. You know what I mean? But still, right?
Taking care of
taking care of regular, right? Yeah. And so I'd say if you're talking about changing, the first thing is when you do your budget, it goes back to your budget. You should find some disposable income in there that will lower that will increase that number to get you closer to zero. And what I mean is sacrifice. Okay. Short-term sacrifice for long-term success. Short-term sacrifice for long-term gratification.
So no TV,
right?
Everybody.
So yeah, I mean straight up, like
no subscription.
Like I didn't have I got rid of my cable, which allowed me to focus more on studying books. I mean, I still had like internet and stuff like that. We got Google. You can still get on there and watch TV. You got YouTube. You got everything else, right? So that saved, and everything I did. You got to think about this when you do your budget. When you make a decision, think about it times 12. Especially when you're about to make a subscription or a commitment. Don't think about it times, I can do that per month. Think about it times 12. Think about it over a year, because when you do that, it gives you a broader picture and spectrum, right? So the first thing is eliminate stuff that's not necessity. Okay? Within reason. Eliminate things that you know are not necessity. If you're in the negative, first of all, you have no excuse to be coming back to me or a financial advisor or anybody else talking about, no, you're in the negative, bruh.
Yeah.
You have no leverage right now to be talking about anything. Do you need TV? Because you're paying somebody else's passive. You're paying somebody else's passive income. At the expense of you struggling. You mean tell me TV? You mean tell me TV is more important than you trying to decide if you're gonna use the money for gas or groceries this week?
Yeah, wow.
How does that add up? Times 4, times 12. Right? So look at what you can sacrifice or trim or adjust. Right? It may be a subscription you have that you can scale back. First of all, if you're in a negative, subscription is gone.
Dang it.
Period. Okay? Come on. Short-term sacrifice, right? And then if you aren't in a negative and now you're saying, okay, I need to just make more, which is really the era we live in right now, right? I need to make more, because I was talking to somebody, they're looking at getting a home and different things like that, and they're doing really everything that they can, but it's just the time we live in. The median required to live is just more, so it's only so much of the old Dave Ramsey save type stuff, right? We live in a different reality now, and nothing against that. Those are great core foundational principles. But yes, to grow more is now, okay, what are you good at that you can do on the side? That's one thing I did. So that's part of my debt-free journey study is I started training. And I used all of my training income to accelerate my debt payoff on top of the bonuses I had. Listen, the job I was working at the time, we got 15% of our salary, and I was getting increases every year and stuff like that. We got 15% of our salary as bonuses.
Wow.
So I try not to beat myself up, Brandon. We were talking earlier about not living in the past, because I'm looking at certain people who that 15%, they don't have no debt. So I was with that company for 10 years. So do you know what I could have did with the 660 plus the 15% of my for 10 years? But I can't dwell on that. What I have to dwell on is it allowed me to accelerate my debt-free journey, so that now every dollar I make is disposable, and I can make more. So I did that by side hustles. Okay. Whether you're good at it or not, find something. You can work extra hours. And this is where you might start to trade your time for money. But right now, you got more time than you got money. So if it's DoorDash, if it's a skill at home, if you get on Fiverr or whatever, there's so many easy ways now. But back then, that's what I was doing. Like, man, I would have cut grass, paint mailbox. I would have did like any of that. But God allowed me to be able to use one of my passions to grow a business. And I used all of my, they talking about reinvesting, I was re-indebting. I was paying my debt off. Right? So that's how I started with that side hustle. And I still did other things. I did computer jobs. So don't feel like you got to do something totally out of your what you enjoy or what you're good at. Use what you have, the tools you have to grow your income. The more you grow your income, the more you're strategic in your budget, the easier it gets.
More vacations.
So I know that was a lot, but hopefully that makes sense.
It does.
If you're in the negative, cut. Yes, make more. Cut. I promise you, there's stuff you can cut.
The first step should be like to identify
where you are,
and then start cutting.
And then from there, cut. And if you've already cut what you can cut, make more.
Okay.
Or if your choice is just to make more and keep, that's your choice. Because I always say that personal finance is just that, personal. So everybody's journey is different, just like everybody's finance journey is different. But at the end of the day, some of the same core principles apply.
Okay. Cool.
I'm gonna give you my stuff.
We can make it happen. Yeah, we can break it down.
Okay, so I guess so. Let's see, where are we going?
Wherever you want to go.
Well, no. Let's say somebody like they you may have already answered this, but like they've done the whole, they set up the budget, and like they think they've cut, and like stuff's just not adding up. Like then I guess the question is, what do you do? Like, well, then you have to re-look at it and find out why it's not working.
And then you might not fix it over one night of looking at your budget. I didn't. It took me a minute to get to, like, I was right around a zero, but it took me a minute to get to the zero or whatever. Like, you see what I'm saying? And then I say a minute. You know, once I did my budget, it accelerated quickly because I really just cut stuff out. And so that's where the frugality comes from. Not cheap.
Just frugal.
Because I have been cheap. Or I have, let me say this. I have utilized cheap tendencies before, and I pay for it. Like getting tires on your whip. Ooh. Like, I've been there where I went and got the used tires before. Oh. Right? Like, I've been there versus going to Discount Tire and getting brand new. Because brand new for $100, but I can get some nicely used tires for $150. All four of them good, right? Because I got to pass this inspection. You know what I mean? Like, whatever, right? But, again, something my dad used to always remind, he's like, son, this is your only vehicle. So, this is your vehicle, helps you get to work to make money, helps you, like, hey, son, you need to invest in this, right? So, I would be frugal in other areas so that I could be very strategic in the areas that matter. So, first of all, reassess, reevaluate what's really important. And then from there, get really heavy on what's really important. Yeah. Cut back what's not. And look at it as, hey, this is a temporary sacrifice for success.
I need my Disney.
Okay.
Do you? Do you? Because Disney definitely enjoying you needing them. Right? Disney, Hulu,
all of them.
even Spotify. And I know people say, well, some of these things help me with like, I'm like, bruh, right now, you should be working every hour you can. And today's time, there's really no excuse because you could do it all from home. You don't even have to waste gas. There's so much digital that I'm not a computer person. I know friends. I have had friends that are in the military. I'm talking about officer level military that still do laundry service. Because they have, not because they're in debt, but because they have goals if they want to invest. Yeah. See what I'm saying? So they'll do where they go pick up people's laundry, they fold it, almost like a DoorDash for laundry.
Wow.
So you ain't got to be great on tech. There's there's services. Find a service that people need. So anyway, I'm just like, listen.
No, that's good. Yeah, because they're like, when you think about it, think of like these trades or like, you know, like there's still a lot of people that don't work digitally. Like they still, you got to call them to schedule them. They going to come out and look at what you know, like there's still that. So yeah, there is a way around you not being tech savvy.
And today people are as employers, and I'm in a position where I'm in hiring and I'm, you know, hiring people and interviewing people and looking for people to just show up.
Yeah.
So there's no excuse on not having a job. And people will be employees have the most leverage ever than before now. Okay? And so, and that's in any industry really, because they need people. So they'll work with your schedule. You got kids, you only want to do part-time. I bet you if you're reliable enough to show up, etc. All I'm trying to say is there's no excuse when you reevaluate and you find what's most important. And just like I said, remember, it's not something you're committing to forever, but you're committing to help you get to where you want to be and where you need to be.
Yeah. So it sounds like it's all about mindset again.
It's mindset. It is.
Like mindset is important.
Yeah, it's the foundation, because your perspective, if you don't feel like you're in a position where you need to make change, you won't. You know, if it doesn't mean that much to you, then you won't do it. But it should. It should, especially if you have a family. And you have goals, you have things you want to do. I want you to be able to enjoy life. I don't want you to go to work to pay bills. No, I want you to trade your time for money to be able to then grow and expand your money so that you can live in more freedom. Let's just keep it real. The money, the dollar is the tool right now for exchange currency and our freedom and what we want to do. So if we can manage that well, we get rewarded by being able to have more freedom with our time and more freedom to do what we want to do. Or you can remain in bondage to the dollar, debt, and savings because you want to watch Disney. And not at you, Brandon. I'm just saying, like, for Netflix, because Netflix and them sitting up there like,
listen,
I don't even watch our stuff.
Look.
Thanks for paying for it.
Right.
Look. I'm thinking now, like at every, well, I've cut back a lot, but just thinking now on the stuff that I do watch, like what do I watch more of right now? Don't really watch Hulu unless there's a game on.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah, get away
Yeah.
with that. You
I mean, I have certain TV shows, but you know.
But then
I don't
also
even pay
too,
for Hulu.
the
You
biggest
definitely hop on
things,
mine.
the biggest things so top 3 biggest things I cut out of people's, not cut, we reassess. Okay. And I try not to say change because change can be tough to accept, but we improve. Areas of improvement. But the top 3 things that we adjust in budgets are subscriptions, food, meaning food and entertainment, because we always underestimate how much we spend monthly, weekly in food, additional food and entertainment outside of groceries. Yes. And then on top of that, if you were to meal prep, and when I say meal prep, not necessarily bodybuilder meal prep, but if you just meal prep even 3 to 4 certain meals a week, you actually spend almost 1 to 2 times less in groceries as well. So food and entertainment, subscriptions, and then just frivolous spending. And that's going to be your shopping, your impulse, your Amazons.
My Funko Pops.
You know, so those are the 3 areas to start with. And just start with one maybe. Maybe you start with one. You know, if you're not in the negative, you maybe have a little bit more leverage. But if you're in the negative right now, listen.
Just throw all my bills away. Just give y'all everything.
Okay, so speaking of like debt management.
Yep, debt management, debt reduction.
That's the one.
Debt
I wanted.
elimination.
That's the word.
Eliminate
I wanted.
debt.
We trying to get rid of this
Bad consumer debt. That is.
So what? I guess would you say are like the most useful methods for that? Working towards that.
A few of the methods, if you're dealing with loans and different things like that, is to try to pay down the lowest ones first, right? You create the snowball effect, all right? Because then you roll up. So if you say you have a $100, a $500, and a $1,000 one, try to knock out the $100 one first, right? And then roll up the amount you were paying towards the $100 to the $500 ones. That's the debt snowball effect. And then roll up the money you were paying to the 500 to don't go, oh, I got more money now. No,
just put that
apply
way.
it, put it to there. The other method is try to eliminate the one with the highest interest rate.
Okay.
Because if you have a $100 one but it's got 1% interest,
you good. Well, not
pay the minimum on that. You're gonna earn some interest. But if your $1,000 one got 12% interest, we need to get that $1,000 one out the way, right? As far as other debt like credit card debt, stuff like that, you can do transfers. Like you can do like a credit card debt. You can do a transfer. Obviously, we don't necessarily want to run our credit again and such, but you can do that to give you time to defer the interest, which will give you time to just pay on the principals. People forget about that.
Listen,
I did not know that.
Yep. So you can do a cash balance transfer, open a new account, which they typically give you a what's the I can't remember. I can't believe
when they like don't do.
They
the
give you
an
introductory APR period where you don't pay, right? Sometimes 9, sometimes the 12 months, right? And then you sometimes get this less now because people start picking on. But sometimes you get like $100, $200, $300 back after a few months.
Really?
Yes. Yep. So for my business and my personal, when I've opened up other credit cards, I've actually done where like you spend a certain amount, which is I spend on my credit card what I would spend with my budgeted cash.
Yeah.
Paid it off, and in 3 months I think.
Oh.
For sure. I got. It's like, what is it? It's a cash.
Like the cashback.
Cashback bonus for sign-on.
Yeah.
And I got $500 for one of mine, and that paid for my gym startup equipment.
Nice.
Which then paid me because
you could make money.
But I would say just start out with paying off your lowest one first and rolling it up to the next one. That's the most basic strategy.
Okay.
Then a little bit more complex strategy is looking at the interest rates and what's incurring the most interest and knocking that one off because it's costing you more.
That's what I've actually been looking at that because the one thing that has the biggest total has the highest interest rate. So
you want to destroy that because the interest is so. Not to cut you off.
No, you're good.
Interest is so much more on that one. the more you can get the principal down, the less hit you're gonna take on the interest. And if those other ones are 3, 2, even 5%, especially if one is 12 and the others are 3, let's get that 12 out the way. Because I had a situation like that with one of my loans as well, one of the student loans. All the rest of them were like stupid low. And even now, sometimes I look back and I'm like, I should have picked up on that earlier. You know? So
I haven't even looked.
Inventory, Brandy, we just been talking.
I know how much I owe, but I'm like, this is depressing.
So is it different? Because thankfully, like no flex, I've paid off my loan.
Congratulations.
You want mine?
Congratulations.
No,
You can have mine.
You know I love you, but
We are empowering you, Brandy, to
Look,
you gonna be able to knock them out, no
Come on now.
problem.
ain't nobody tell me to go to 2 schools.
Let's go.
It's crazy.
What's done is done. We take ownership, we set a plan, and we execute.
So
There you go.
is it different? Where was I going with this question? Oh, my stuff that I owe is credit card,
Okay. All right.
and then like the typical house car. Like, is there a difference in like the way all of that debt matters, or is that debt?
That's that.
Like debt is just debt. Like it doesn't matter.
Well, it depends. So, like, we can get into the OPM, which is other people's money, right?
Oh, okay.
So,
I was
from
like,
a business and investing, so OPM stands for other people's money, right? So, if you're going to buy a house or invest in a business or something like that, right, you can use other people's money strategically to do that so that you don't empty your bank, but also you can get it at a low rate. And typically the cash flow from what you're investing in, helps to actually grow, and you can pay that loan back, and then you didn't incur any damage to your personal, right? That's typically how wealth building works. But in order to get there, you need to be able to manage your stuff. Right.
Yeah.
So anything that's not incurring revenue
I know what
that's
I was gonna
costing
ask.
you is a liability.
Okay.
Until it's cash flowing or
So that's
creating
everything.
income, is and people will go back and forth on that, but that's and I've even kind of adjusted my mindset over time, because there's a mindset shift that I had to go from debt reduction and elimination to, okay, now I've eliminated debt, to saving, to now, okay, I gotta have the courage and the mind shift to start investing, right? Because at first it was here, then it was nope, I'm good, then it was that, now it's like, oh, I gotta do this, because this, to me, with the mindset not shifted, still look too close to this. But I had to realize that this means that.
Okay.
Feel me?
Yeah.
So, if that makes sense.
No, it does. I wasn't sure where I was going with my question. I lost where I
you
was going with my
You're going with
question.
how do you manage car? Well, first your question was the types of debt, right?
Yes.
Because you got what they call good and bad debt. Because I know they talk about homes being, and that's a controversial one as well, because home ownership is costly.
It is.
Right.
Absolutely.
And unless you're house hacking, or because the only time you can really create that as an asset is when you tap into the equity. And that's if you do a HELOC to invest in something else, which typically we do. I say we. In the past, our community has done HELOCs because we need to pay on something else. Or we do HELOCs to go buy this car that depreciates in value as soon as we drive it off. We don't do HELOCs to go invest in another property that then we can tap into that equity, that then we can tap into the equity of buying a cash flow business.
Yeah.
That's a difference, right? So that's how you strategically you kind of become your own bank in a sense to do that. But as far as just owning a home, I'm growing equity. It's better than renting. And it's like, is it? Right? In some cases it is, because you're growing the equity, but you only really turn that house into an asset when you can tap into the equity and use it to create revenue income. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's still better than throwing because I did that when I was in Indianapolis, and when I was going through most of this debt journey, and I would at the end of the year be like, I just spent how much in rent, and I got nothing to show for it. So yes, at least you can spend that much in mortgage, and you're paying back a loan at typically a low rate, and you're growing equity. But you only tap into the equity whether you do a refinance or whether you sell. And or if you do a HELOC. Those are the three: refinance, HELOC, or you sell. And the HELOC is typically strategically, if you do it right, that's how you can leverage your home. Or if you do house hacking, which I did and I do, in which, house hacking is another form of renting as well, as where you can get tenants in to rent a room, rent space, whatever, and you can live for free, basically.
That's
right?
nice.
So
I
it's the
need
same
that.
thing as buying a house in a sense, and you get
You
them
would
to
need
rent and they pay
roommates.
for the mortgage, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. So it's all about. But again, we talk about if you're in the negative, you got a 2-bedroom spot, and I know 2-bedroom spots now be close to 2 bands.
Listen.
Okay. What that room for?
Close.
You ain't even got that room
Yes.
set up all the way.
Yeah.
Put a bed in that room, lightly furnished, if that. You ain't even got to do that now. Be strategic, be safe, right? There's ways to do it. I'm telling you, do it every day. You got working professionals that are just looking for a place to stay for a 6-month contract that get a stipend. You don't even have to worry about them paying. They get a stipend for
got
their rent during their travel.
Yeah. Yeah.
Provide that, even if they're 6 months out of the year, that's still like half almost, or if not double of what you're already paying in your mortgage or your rent. And now you're taking that 300-400 to where you had negative 400. See what I'm saying? So there's ways.
Yeah. Let me go ahead and book you
Hey, sign it up.
right now.
KingBear100.com. Money Beast coaching session. Let's get it.
Going on there.
We'll talk about that more later.
Yeah. Shoot.
No.
No.
Information.
Yeah, no. So you know how people, what is it like? What's it when they do the loan to cover all their debt?
Consolidation.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Is it better to do those, or like, I don't know. Is it good to do those? Do you recommend?
It's good to
that?
do debt consolidation if, one, it gives you a better overall interest rate. So say if you have an interest rate on 4 loans at 1%, 4%, 9%, 20%, and then when you consolidate, your interest rate is 7%, right? It also gives you the ability to just make towards one payment and not 4 different payments.
Yeah.
Okay. So you can manage it better. So it's great for consolidation and management, but I've seen people that have consolidated and the interest rate is still like 14. If you go from 20 to 14, yeah, the 6 helps, but I'm saying, like
Yeah.
if 3 of your loans were under 5% and one of your loans was 12% and you consolidate and it's still at 10%,
Because like now,
doesn't make sense.
all of that debt is now at that rate, right? Like that whole total is now at that new.
Yes, ma'am. That is correct. That is correct.
Ooh.
So be strategic about that. They make them sound good. And it is, sometimes too, your loans and stuff get shopped around. They get bought out by other, and so it creates some continuity when you do it that way. And sometimes they do, they can give you certain incentives, benefits. They might defer the interest for a little bit by consolidating, which gives you more time to pay on the principal without the interest. So yeah, that's a win as well. But be mindful, because I've seen some people consolidate and the interest rate is still high. So now you got $14,000 as one, and the interest rate is 10% on that. Versus sometimes it might be better to just have them split.
Yeah. Okay.
Great question, excellent question, both of y'all.
Don't do
Okay.
it. No, I'm just saying.
So let's see.
Hope this stuff isn't too heavy.
No. This is no.
Just trying to be practical and
Yeah.
Good.
I'm just trying to make sure we cover all the things.
Yeah,
We
for
need
sure.
it.
For everybody. So. Okay, before I go here, any general just finance tips you want to share, or like some like most important things you wish people knew? Or
Yeah,
want
for
them to
sure.
know?
Again, your budget and financial plan. I preach that. That's why it was Budget Bear and Money Beast community.
Yeah.
But your financial plan is key. Have a financial plan. Know what's coming in. Know where your money is going. Period. That's number 1. Okay. Number 2, be strategic in your spending. Okay. And then be very aggressive with your ability to grow your income, whether it be changing jobs, whether it be side hustles, whether it be other opportunities. Do everything you can to earn more as soon as you can, because that puts you in a better position to then make the right decisions. Don't go on credit unless you absolutely need to. Yes, build up an emergency fund. And some people say, well, should I save first or should I pay my debt down first? That's a big one, right? It depends. But typically you want to get your debt eliminated, but you do want to have something that you can fall back on, right? Typically they say save your first 1,000, right? If you can save your first, it might start with 200. It might start with 500, right? Save your first 1,000, all right? If you can do that, continue to pay on your loans. Because typically most things in general living, and it might be a little more now, but emergencies are under $1,000. So you don't want to be strategically paying on your debt. You have nothing left. Then an emergency happens, and now you got to put something on credit, and now you're back where you was at. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So save 1,000, have a budget, strategic with your finances, and find ways to earn more money as soon as you can. So that. And that applies to any level where you're at. And then once you start to get really into wealth building and investing, it's a totally different mindset, maturity, and shift that you have to have, because now you're strategically using your money to make more money, which involves a little bit more risk. But until you have money disposable to use, everything is a risk.
True.
You are absolutely right.
So I shouldn't be investing.
Now nowadays that's new. So if I'm in debt, I'll ask the question. If I'm in debt, should I be investing? Right? The answer is it depends, and yes, right? And the reason why I say that is because if you are taking care, to put it this way, one of the things that I may have done differently in my debt-free journey in the past, because I was very aggressive with my debt-free pay-up, debt reduction plan, is I would have looked at investing in the market where the rate of return was higher than some of the rates of the APR of my interest, right?
Oh, okay.
Because just pay the minimum. It might take me a little bit longer to pay, but I'm earning more compounded over time because the market's giving me 9 to 10%. But this loans on 2,000 at 2%.
So in over the time, it would end up.
Yeah, and then eventually eventually on that time, I would make enough to where I could just cash that out.
Yeah.
And now that money that's in there is still growing. So, yes, you can strategically invest, but if you're in a negative, you shouldn't be investing. If you at zero, you shouldn't be investing. So in some cases, I would recommend, get to, I say zero, but you know what I mean, get to stabilization, and maybe you do so what I did was after I paid my debt off, I used my side hustles to build my nest egg on top of my living expenses and different things on top of my job and, bonuses and stuff like that. And then I said, okay, now I want to use my side hustles to first make money, but then to invest so that I'm not feeling like I'm digging in my main pot. Yeah. Right? So maybe, I know people, I was telling you about my friend that did the laundry thing. That's a gem right there. But, she used that to invest in a rental property. So people are like, why are you doing that? You you make this much money. It's like, yeah, but I could do this in my spare time. Time. You all have spare time. Okay? That Netflix, that's spare time. Okay? and you don't have to take it all. Okay? 1 hour a day, a week to invest into your financial future is more than enough. That's 7 hours. Okay? But took the side hustle and used that to invest. And so I did the same thing with my business revenue. I did it to invest in apparel so that I could sell that and make a profit. I did it to invest in other gym things that I was doing for my clients. I did that to invest into just investing in the market, etc. Right? And I'm not digging in what I eat with. To do that. So
you're using your extra to make extra.
Using my extra to make extra. But it doesn't start until I get to a point of stabilization. I have a good foundation on my finances, and I can grow from there.
Got you. Because my question was going to be, how do you set yourself up to start investing? So it sounds like
everything we just talked about. Yeah. You set yourself up through investing, through creating a strategic plan. Well, first of all, just start on the plan. Let's just take the strategic out. Start with a plan. Know what your money is. And over time, your plan will be more strategic. You're eliminating things you don't need. You're adding the things that you do need. You're growing your income. You're in a more comfortable place. Now you can take risks. You don't need to take risk when you are a risk. You see what I'm saying? And that was at a point. That's why investing wasn't even in my mindset, because I'm like, yo, if 2 tires go out, I'm just being transparent. There were times where, and I was being diligent, where it was like, if 2 tires go out tomorrow, bro, like I just got my credit card down from being maxed.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I'm not getting another one, right? So, so some of them eating outs went to let me grocery prep.
Yeah.
And oh snap, I didn't spend $400 on food this month that I thought, oh man, I need food. No, I spent like $200. That's $200.
Yeah.
Times 12 is how much?
Don't ask me.
$2,400, right? So I'm just, just times 12. I had to look at things like that, because if I didn't look at things like that, I'd be like, oh, it ain't worth it.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, $30, that doesn't matter. But what's 30 times 12? Plus that other subscription, that's 45. Plus the other subscription, that's 20. Right?
Yeah.
You add that up, you might be close to $300 a month times 12. That's money to pay off debt and invest. And you didn't change anything but assessing your budget. So that's why we always start with assessing your habits. And you asked about other things to do is create strategic, smart money habits, meaning spend less than you make always at any levels, save, and then find strategic ways to grow your money for you.
In your sleep. Make money.
Yeah,
Right?
in your sleep. Yeah, because there's always an active part of passive income. There's always an active part of passive income, but the active is worth it, right? Even if it starts out at 75-25, then it can end up to in your sleep where it's 10%, 90%, 10% active, taking care of it, and 90% incurring the revenue.
That's dope. Let me go to your website right now.
Canberra100.com/book a session.
Yeah, like, speaking of like your website and all these things, like you've done the you had the budgeting ebook.
Yes.
I actually sent you that, Brandy.
Yeah. Yep.
You've done a webinar on or you did the virtual.
Yeah, so
thing?
I have a course, and I do live classes on vending.
Yeah.
So vending is something I got into investing in, and now I actually teach and help employ other people on starting their own vending. And so I still have my course out there about how to get started in vending. So you'll learn about from the ground up. This ain't no, catch or cap class. Like, I'm giving you from the ground up strategic steps to start a successful vending business, where to start, how to go from there. And that's on the site as well. So so you got the budget builder. That's teaching you how to build your budget from the ground up, and then how you want to build it, adjusting to you. And then you got the vending course and the vending class. So that's another way to build and grow passive income.
Nice. So, and then people can also reach out to you to work one-on-one.
Yes.
Or whatever.
Yep. You can book a session with me. I do Money Beast Mentorship, where I have a 3-month program where I typically track with you for 3 months through your process. We start with building your budget, getting you a strong foundation in that. We set strategic goals, and then we work to, accomplish a few of those goals, and hopefully set you up to have a plan, an understanding of where to go from there. And then I also do just one-on-one, hey, money on your mind is my biggest session that people do. And it's where we just pick 3 things in your financial journey, whether it's passive income, whether it's debt reduction, whether it's, I just want you to look and assess my budget, or can you help me build a budget? I have the Money Beast coaching sessions as well, where we do that. So, yeah.
So, listen, people, if you need help,
I'm here to help.
I'll be first in line.
Speak to him directly, or utilize one of his tools or whatever. Because there's no way we could cover all the things.
Yeah, it's a lot.
We'd have to we'd do a whole series or something. We would have to.
Personal finance is personal, so different principles apply to different people, and that's fine. But we start with finding out where you are, and my goal is to get you where you want to be.
Yeah. So, is there anything else we should be on the lookout for from you, or you kind of just working on?
I'm rebranding a little bit. Not rebranding, updating, updating, because life is always growing, right? So I'm updating the brand a little bit with the apparel. I'm looking at potentially, because I have a passion for youth. So I really want to teach youth, specifically high school and college graduates. I want to do some budget and financial coaching on them. So I'm looking at launching something from there. It's hey, don't graduate and then try to get the biggest apartment you have, and you're not really making that much money that you think. You know, you're starting out, right? It's like, so I really want to, and just again, we're not taught how to manage our money in school. There are more courses and awareness now, but still, it's not. So I want to teach people how to manage their money, because some people don't have the support system to teach or even say, hey, you need to watch how you spend it. All they know is this is how I do with my money. Or some people really don't care or have a sense of money that way. And you do need to care. It doesn't need to rule your life, but it does control what and how you can do with your life. Yeah. So that's something that I'm looking at, developing here now, coming up. So yeah.
That's really good. I think that's very necessary right now.
Definitely.
So if anybody watching this has youngsters, a group of kids, or young adults, young business owners, I help those as well, starting their LLCs, different things like that, reach out to me. Let's connect, and I look forward to the opportunity to empower you for success through finances.
Yes.
Absolutely. We will make sure we drop all of your stuff in the description so they can find you easily. KingBear100.com with the zeros. KingBear100 with the 2 O's on Instagram.
Yes.
Yeah.
Look at you.
Yep. You got it. You got it. Sorry that's confusing. That's just how the domains work.
People
but it's all good. It works. If you find either one of those, the Instagram, you'll find links to get to everywhere on the site. If you go to the website, you'll find the links to the Instagram.
Nice.
There you go. Well, guys, that was great.
Yay.
I hope so. I enjoyed it.
I appreciate you being here.
Thank you guys for asking great questions.
We've learned a lot.
We have, absolutely.
Yes. Well, guys, thank you for joining us for another episode of Hey Fave. We hope that you enjoyed it. I did. I hope you learned something. Please hit him up.
Absolutely.
Get your life together. I'll be first in line. But anyway, follow us on all of our podcast platforms. Watch us on YouTube. Talk to us. Send us topics if you would like us to talk about something specific. And again, we hope you enjoyed, and we will see you on the next one. Thank you for being here.
Yes,
Glad to be here.
Absolutely.
Excited.